Inside of our project, we have this main.js file. This is the file which is responsible for creating our app. We import this from the Vue library. We also import the main app component, which is this one just here. This is the main entry component and everything else is going to be nested inside. We pass this file to create app and then we mount the application to the DOM with the ID of app. As well as this, it also includes an import at the top for the main.css file, which is inside of this assets folder. And the way we structure our styling is completely up to us when it comes to a Vue app, but I'm going to be using this as a kind of general style file containing base styles such as fonts and resets. We can still add specific components or page styling in individual components of Vue files. First though, we need to choose our fonts which we're going to use for the project, and for this I'm going to make use of Google Fonts. So head over to fonts.google.com. I'm going to make use of two separate fonts. One of them is going to be for our headings and title, and the other one for the general text. So click on search. The first one is called MarkScript, and this is M-A-R-C-K, and this is the one for our headings and title. So select this, scroll down. This one only has the regular text, which is fine. Click on the plus icon to add this to our selected families. As well as this, let's search for our second one. Back to the search. And for the general text, I'm going to be using Roboto. This is the one we need here. And for this, let's go for a selection of fonts. So 300, which is a lightweight text, the 400, which is regular weight, and also a 500. Add all three of these to the family. Click on these selected families and we have the information which we need to import into our project. So we have a link which we can use, or we can use the import syntax. And to import this, let's go over to the assets folder and into the main.css. This is currently empty. We can add this import rule. So copy everything inside of the style tags. Paste this in. As we've seen before, in the main.js file, we have the ID of app, which we can select as the main wrapper for our project. So select this with the hash. And inside of here, we can set the font family to be Roboto by copying this second line just here. This will be our general text, and we will override this with the MarkScript when we need to. Into the body. We're just adding general styles inside of here, remember, so we'll add some margin to center our project by setting this to be 0 on the top and bottom, and auto on the left and right. The color for our text of RGB, placing a red, green and blue value of 76. Okay, just after the body, we'll target the headings. So H1, H2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Remember, the font family which we're going to be using for this one is the other one which we get from Google Fonts. So copy this section, paste it in. Remove any default margin which is applied to any of our headings with the browser. And place in the color which is an RGB value of 76, 76, 76. So this gives us our general heading stylings, but we will make use of the level 3 heading in multiple places. So we'll be using it with page and component headings. So we'll set the font size to be a larger size of 2.2 rems. And also place some margin on the top and bottom of 1 rem and 0 on the left and right. Next, the unordered list, the UL element. We'll reset any spacing which is applied by the browser, so default margin can be removed to 0, and also the padding to be reset back to 0 too. The list items, and in fact also the links too with the A element. We'll inherit the color, and this will remove that purple link color which we have by default inside the browser. We'll also reset the text decoration to be none and also the list style. This will ensure none of our links or any of our list items have any underlines, and also any of the bullets to the side of the link to. Okay, so some more general styles. We jump into our image elements. Make sure that the maximum width of any image does not exceed 100%. Okay, so next on to our classes for our router links. If you remember early on, we have these links up at the very top, and you can already start to see our styling taking place. We have these menu links up at the top, which you can see if we go into the components and then into the app header. Each one of these router links has this class of link. So let's grab this. The dot, since it's a class, the margin of 1 rem, to give these some spacing. There we go. And we'll also make sure that each one of these changes color when we hover over them. So to do this, we'll target our link once again, but use the hover selector. Change the text color to be an RGB value of 161 to the red, green of 132, and 132 also for the blue. Finally, for any buttons which we have on our site, we'll also set the default styling for each one of these. So the button will remove the background, the default color, by setting this to be none. A very fine border of 0.5 pixels, a solid line, and the color of this line is going to be an RGB value of 202 for each one of these. Some border radius of 0.3 rems. Some padding to make the button a little bit bigger. So half a rem on the top and bottom, and 1 rem on the left and right. Finally, to prompt the user that they can click on these buttons, we'll change the cursor to be a pointer. Okay, so if we go over to our project, we can see some of these have taken effect. But remember, these are just general styles for our project, and we will add more specific styles to each one of our individual pages and components.